I'm Edie Lush, and I'm outside the Hub Culture Ice House in Davos, and I'm delighted to be joined by Bill Browder, CEO and founder of Hermitage Capital, and also the author of Red Notice, which I read with my book club.
I'm glad you did.
And we enjoyed it.
Great.
In fact, it was required reading for some of our members before they went to Russia on a visit. So, I want to talk about Russia's involvement in the US elections, and I'd like you to tell me how surprised you were to find out the depth of what they'd done.
Well, the big surprise for me was to find out in July of last year that Natalia Veselnitskaya, the Russian lawyer who visited Trump Tower in June of 2016, was there with one agenda item and one agenda item only, which was to repeal the Magnitsky Act, which is a piece of legislation that I was responsible for advocating in Washington, which imposes visa sanctions and asset freezes on Russian human rights violators, including the people who killed my lawyer, Sergei Magnitsky. And the fact that Sergei's story and my story and the law were right in the middle of effectively the reason why Putin was interested in having Trump elected was pretty surprising to me.
And so, where do you go from here? Are you concerned that the Trump administration will repeal these sanctions?
Well, I was concerned at the very beginning, but a number of things have happened which give me great confidence that there's no chance of that. The first is that I've been in Washington since then, and in order to repeal the Magnitsky Act, it would require an act of Congress, which would require a majority of Congress to vote in favor of allowing Russian torturers and murderers to come into America. And I can tell you that with the exception of one congressman, that would not happen.
We've got Russian elections coming up. Will that change anything?
Well, I'm often offended when people use the word Russian elections. And why? Because the election means that there's like some kind of fair competition of ideas and ideologies. In Russia, anybody who poses any threat to Vladimir Putin is either murdered, like they did to Boris Nemtsov, the opposition politician, imprisoned or criminally charged, like they've done with Alexei Navalny, who's probably the most popular person in Russia right now, or exiled, like they did to Garry Kasparov. And so Putin is like a guy who's playing soccer, and anyone who comes near the ball, he shoots them. Shoots the goalie and kicks the ball into the goal and says, look what a great sportsman I am. That's what he's doing with these elections. And by the way, they also stuff the ballot boxes just in case. And so this is just what I call a dictator's pantomime of an election. It's not a real election, and people shouldn't even call it that when they look at what's going on in Russia.
So what else are you trying to do? The Magnitsky Act was successful or the sanctions were successful in the United States. Where else are you going around?
Well, so we started with the United States, and we've now effectively globalized this Magnitsky Act. Canada has passed a Magnitsky Act. The United Kingdom has done so. Lithuania and Estonia. So there's 5 countries with a Magnitsky Act. There are 4 more countries that are lined up right now. Latvia, Ukraine, South Africa, and Gibraltar. And then I'm working on Europe in terms of France, the Netherlands, and Sweden. And so we have a lot of work to do. And we know it works. We know it works because of look how angry Putin got about the whole thing. How we've found the Achilles heel of the Putin regime, and so I'm going full bore ahead to do this. By his reaction, I know I'm on the right track, and so it's a really important mission for me and my team.
We know that sanctions work, but we also know that engaging and having dialogue works. Would you not argue for continuing to engage with Putin, as Trump has suggested in the past?
Well, whatever. So it all depends on what engagement means. If engagement means appeasement, then of course not. Putin would just laugh at us if we say we're not going to do anything. We're just going to beg you to please don't be mean. That's just like dumb. If engagement means putting your boot on their throat and talking to them while your boot is on their throat, you can do that, and we can do that, and that's what should be done. There's no reason not to communicate with your enemy, but they are our enemy, and they've made it absolutely clear. And we should do everything possible to make sure that they don't have an opportunity to disrupt any future elections, to hack our vote, and to do all the other terrible things that they're doing. And they shouldn't be allowed to invade foreign countries, and we have a big job to stop them from doing that.
Bill, thank you very much for stopping by the Hub Culture Pavilion here in Davos, and I'm Edie Lush.